All right, Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. I have a a pretty interesting article here. All right, and it's the spirit because I was just how my this is my screen right here, and I have a couple of these links and these tabs on here. And I was just sitting here looking at it, and the spirit just told me to hit on RT News, see what's going on here real quick. And boom, lo and behold, came across this article published April 9th, which is what, today? Yep, today, yesterday, whatever. So it says unbeatable virus or false positive. Doctors alarmed after some COVID-19 patients test positive after recovering. Now, why is this key? Is because where the location is where we're looking at. It says troublesome results from South Korea and China showing some of the patients who recovered from the coronavirus test positive again. It says could throw off widely accepted strategies for battling the virus from shutdowns to vaccines. Okay, so now what do we have going on? Okay, China, that was, oh yes, China is celebrating their lift of the lockdown and everybody's good and China made it out. Well, guess what? Nowadays people getting reinfected. You know, they so-called recovered, but notice it says what? Could throw off widely accepted strategies for battling the virus from shutdowns to vaccines. What is this going to tell you? The U.S. is going to come out and say, well, what can we learn from China? We learned that we can't lift this lockdown too early because China lifted their lockdown and boom, look what happened. We learned that now we got to take even more drastic measures because what we're doing, China already did, but that didn't work. So we need to take more drastic measures. All right? Like it says, from shutdowns to vaccines. So now this virus is stronger and much of a vicious enemy than we expected. And so we need to even come harder than we already doing right now. It says after about 50 recovered patients in the city of Daegu tested positive for COVID-19 again, the Korean Centers for Disease Control and Prevention launched an investigation into whether they were somehow reinfected or if the virus had made a comeback. While, because it's a very likely possibility that this virus can mutate if it hasn't already. All right. It says while we are putting more weight on activation as the possible cause, we are conducting a comprehensive study on this, said KCDC. It says that's the Korean Centers for Disease Control. Director General Jeon Eun Keong, as quoted by Bloomberg. It says here SARS 2019P reactivation, 51 recovered patients test positive. Reinfection, reactivation, or simple prolonged shedding at limit of detection missed by discharge testing. Critical question about immunity since countries proposing to let Cyril plus Rome free. Now, the thing about that is we're gonna find out, in the coming days, what conclusion they come to, whether it's reinfection, reactivation, or there was some error, detecting the virus. All right, but it says they're leaning more towards reinfection. All right, which we're gonna read. It says while reinfection would be problematic, reactivation is a more troubling prospect. In addition to raising questions about post-recovery immunity to the virus, it would pose a major challenge to mitigation strategies adopted around the world. And what are those mitigation strategies? Social distancing, oh, stay 6 feet apart, stay at home, wear masks, wear gloves. Now they're gonna tell you what? That's not enough. That's not enough. We got to do more than that. Contact tracing, isolation, sending people to FEMA camps, forceful vaccinations. They're going to make it to where the only solution is the vaccine because you can't quarantine them. That's not enough. That's not working. The mitigation strategies you're using now is not enough. We need something to just stop. Instead of trying to slow it down, we need something to just stop the virus altogether. And what are they going to come to you with? Hey, we have a vaccine. All right. It says, if there is a high risk of COVID-19 reactivating among the people considered cured, How you cure somebody without a vaccine? And what's the need for a vaccine if people can get cured naturally? You see? So if they're pushing for a vaccine, they have to make sure the problem is still there. You can't bring a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. All right? So you need a problem that's going to be long lasting and is going to last until you bring the solution. That's why they're doing this, man. It says that would mean longer quarantines and delays in reopening businesses and public spaces. All right? So next thing you know, China's back on lockdown. you know, and then hopes for other countries that thought that because the numbers were going down, they could lift the lockdowns. Now they're saying, no, we can't do that because now the virus just took another turn. It says other possibilities include false positives. If the tests pick up residue from the initial infection or prolonged shedding of the virus load missed by the test at discharge because the levels were just under the limit. South Korea has often been cited as one of the success stories of the pandemic, keeping the total number of infections to 10,400 and the death toll to 204 through strict quarantine, widespread testing, and contact tracing measures. But now they're saying, well, we still have people that are now they're now testing positive again. All right? They're testing positive again. So, hey, let's see how that goes. It says interesting preliminary data on the neutralizing antibodies responses in recovered COVID-19 patients. Seems there can be a wide range of antibody response post-infection, including undetectable, but still unclear what this means for future reinfection risk. Very interesting. All right, so it says further troubling news comes from China. Woo, okay. Where the novel coronavirus was first detected in December last year, a team of scientists at Fudan University analyzed blood samples from 175 patients discharged from a hospital in Shanghai and found that almost a third had unexpectedly low levels of antibodies and in at least 10 cases no antibodies at all. It says whether these patients were at high risk of rebound or reinfection should be explored in further studies. The team said in a preliminary research paper released on Monday. While it has not been peer-reviewed or evaluated, the authors say they did the world's first systematic examination of antibodies or antibody levels in recovered COVID-19 patients. And they're going to tell you what the result is. It says all of the people examined had recovered from mild symptoms, and most of those with low antibody levels were young, in the age 15 to 39 age group. By contrast, the 60 to 85 age group had 3 times the amount of antibodies, the scientists said. This is very worrisome. Among recovered former COVID-19 cases, nearly a third had unexpectedly low levels of antibodies. In some cases, antibodies could not be detected at all. Let me see. Okay, if some patients do not develop antibodies, this could have serious implications for both vaccinations and herd immunity. China officially registered almost 83,000 cases and the 3,339 deaths from the virus since it was first noticed in the city of Wuhan, but claimed almost no new infections in recent days and has lifted much of the harsh quarantine conditions imposed on Wuhan and the surrounding Hubei province. But here's the problem. You lifted it, you lifted the quarantine, you lifted the lockdown. Come to find out, people are getting reinfected. Okay? Now, think about it. When you get infected, okay, the first time, and you quote unquote get cured and you fought it off, in order to get reinfected, the strain that you're getting reinfected with has to be stronger than the first one. Okay? Because your body now knows how to fight off the first level of that virus. Okay, so you should be able, and that's why they're worried about these antibodies not being produced, because at this point, your body should be able to fight off this virus. But if you're not producing enough antibodies and your body can't fight it off, and you're getting reinfected, then if you don't have a quote unquote vaccine, as they're gonna push it, then there's no hope for you. They can treat you all they want, but you're not gonna recover. You can't fight it off. All right. It says all this shows there are still many unknowns about the virus that has killed over 95,000 people worldwide so far and forced almost half of humanity into some kind of quarantine over the past month. If you notice, they're using China as that testing ground. You know, China goes through it first, then the rest of the world goes through it. China ends it first, the rest of the world ends it. China finds out that it's mutated first, then everybody else faces that. You know? So, hey, it says given the profound economic fallout of the mitigation measures, answers to those questions are more necessary than ever. Yet, even in China, officials are unsure how things will pan out in the long run. Who knows whether this will become something like a seasonal flu or chronic disease like hepatitis B or just vanish like SARS. Professor Wang Chen, a senior scientific advisor of the Chinese government, told the official Science and Technology Daily on Monday. Well, that's what they quote unquote hope. It's not gonna go away like the seasonal flu, and it's not gonna go away like SARS. Okay, because guess what? This is the virus these elites are using, so they're gonna keep it here until they get what they want. All right. So hey, this is interesting here, man. All right, this is very very interesting news. All right, and it's beautiful because right when China said peace and safety, they said, "Oh, we lifting this lockdown." You know, said, "I don't think so." All right, so before I end it, I'm gonna get this. This is First Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. What does this mean? When you're at the point where you think everything is all right, oh, we're ready to lift this lockdown, we're ready to, go back to normal, everything is calmed down, that's when you're saying peace and safety. That's when you get struck again with something worse than before. And you know why it'll hit you like sudden destruction? Because you're not expecting it. Your guard is down. And you're not going to escape. And we're seeing here, just as China was lifting their lockdowns, well, now they have another thing to worry about. They have another issue on their hands. So we'll see where this goes. Ultimately, it's the Most High in control of it all. So, hey, I hope this was edifying unto the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.